Good morning, boys. Dust Gordon here. Today, I've decided to make a little bit of a different video than usual. I'm not going to cover anything specific. What I'm going to talk about is kind of a negative. This video is going to be a little bit negative. This is going to be talking about all the issues with Templar. We're going to talk about the issues for all three specs, the issues for the class as a whole, the problems that the changes from the alpha to the betas brought, what really is the problem with some of those changes, like very specifically. And then at the end, we're gonna kind of talk about what my suggestions would be to fix some of it. I don't like doing like such like a negative video like before we go on, right? Because I know the devs do like great work, and I would say they have a high percentage of success rate with changes they've done. And I wouldn't even say that all the changes to Templar are bad. I think what they were trying to do wasn't bad, but I think there's been kind of like oversights. And it kind of compounds itself. And then the problems snowball. So like one oversight and then another oversight create, instead of 2 little problems, 5 problems. Because it's multiple systems that don't work very well. But first thing I'm going to talk about is the identity crisis. So the problem is Templar is trying to be multiple things that it's never been, and it's kind of like trying to be and not to be at the same time. It doesn't really know what it wants to be anymore. So if we go back on a little history lesson, Templar, a long time ago, used to be the monk class. I understand we moved away from that, but there is still like remnants of it in the core of some systems. So the old monk class used to have, you know, the disciplined tank, the fighting monk with unarmed, and blade master. I'm not gonna go over the old specs, but the important thing to remember is that this used to be kind of monk. And it was coded to have like combos that were, you would, you know, have multiple things. It was very fast. It had a high amount of mobility. Good, like it had self-sustain. It you attack very quickly and such. When Monk became Templar, which was a move decided for a variety of reasons. Those of them including just they wanted to shift the identity from something that was kind of had known and had expectations with Monk, because people expected Mr. Pandera style Monk more, which is fine. And they went to Templar to kind of had a little twist to it, reinforce the holy fighting monk style, which I'm a fan of. Like very personally, I was one of the few people that didn't like kind of enjoyed the thematic shift from Monk to Templar. But with that came some different stuff. So now Templar is, you know, like a mail-wearing class where our 3 specs are Zealot, which is supposed to be like a very fast dual-wield class. We have Crusader, which is supposed to be, well, every spec is supposed to be fast, like it was supposed to be. And then it kind of changed, but it's slightly different now. So Zealot's supposed to be very fast. Crusader was a little bit supposed to be kind of like a little bit meatier. There was an old system with Crusader where you could compress the channels of your channels, so your spin and such could be, instead of being a 3-second spin that was flat that you empowered, it became, you could make it like a 1.5 second. So you had kind of like a speeding up of the slow parts of the gameplay. And then the tank, actually, the tank didn't change such incredibly much. It's just much better now. So that's like the old thing, right? And then coming from the alpha to the beta, we went from the combo system, which made you do like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3, with different options at every press, like chain part of the chain combo. Now we have the oath system. So the oath system instead is a flat amount of time that you have a buff, go like let's say 15 seconds baseline. There's some variation, but 15 seconds baseline. during which you used what was the old follow-up abilities, and you use them to gain your buff, and then every buff that you add to the chain just stays on for the entire chain. So you can stack one chain, one oath, or 10 oaths. The concept would be that you're throttled with energy. Energy is your limiting factor in terms of how many abilities you can use. The problem is that now we've entered a system where you can do whatever you want at one oath, or at, you can try to go and do higher amount of oath chain amounts. Like, you can try stacking a lot of buffs, but it doesn't necessarily make sense to do so, because you don't see like an inherent benefit to doing so for multiple different reasons. I'm gonna go over right after the end of the identity crisis part of the video, right? Like, so the problem with the identity crisis is that with the changes from the alpha to the beta, we've kind of like fully transitioned away from monk, and we've leaned way harder into the paladin style of the entire class. This isn't necessarily a bad direction. Like, it might not be to everyone's taste, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad direction. But the problem is that you've achieved a world in which we are neither. We don't feel like paladins at all, and we don't feel like monks anymore. So part of that is the oath system, part of that is the kit, and then there is a difference between the fantasy and the kit. What Templar is trying to be, right? What it tries to do, in a sense, is it wants to be like a self-healing, a bruiser that attacks very swiftly, and conceptually, like in rotation, in your rotation, you're supposed to have some decision making to build your combos. Like, you're trying to make like a strong combo that's like the best combo for every situation. You're trying to like the entire system is like predicated upon having choice. And one difference I could make, right, is if you take something like classic style warrior, you like an arms warrior, you kind of just want to hit Mortal Strike every 6 seconds. Like, that is your goal. Like, you're just gonna try to hit Mortal Strike as much as you can, and then use your other abilities to like manage your rage and whatever, right? So you have some expression between, because it is, you want to achieve the goal that is stated by having like a 6 second Mortal Strike, which is to press as many Mortal Strikes as possible. And then you have something like a rogue. Now the rogue kind of tells you need to get to from 1 combo point to 5 combo points, and you can do that whatever way you want. Okay, most of the time it ends up being like Sinister Strike and Eviscerate, but then you have like different finishers to upkeep, and you can use like Growth and Shiv and whatever, right? The thing is, Templar kind of tells you, hey, here's like 5 buttons you can press at the end, and then here's like 4 buttons you can press to build your combo. Mix and match this shit to make every combo the combo that you want. So if you're in an AoE, you can choose to stack cleaves to hit everything, or you can choose to hit like 3 mobs to then funnel more single target, or you can choose, if you're like, a boss, like you have a dot, you have your single target, you have vindication. Like, you can build yourself your buffs to like modulate your damage profile, and then on top of it, you have some abilities that have like a cooldown. So I'm gonna use Blade of Fate, and I'm gonna come back to that fucking ability because I hate it so much. But Blade of Fate is like, it's one of your finishers on a 20-second cooldown, and it deals a big dot. Well, the theory would be you would want to like prime up your oath chain to be stronger, because the ability has a big cooldown. So you would want to like build it so that the dot is really powerful, and then you use like smaller chains during the rest of the time. Now the problem is that you're not really incentivized well to use the oath system at all. Which brings me to my second point. The issue with the oath system. So, I've already alluded to it a little bit, but the entire system is predicated upon you having a lot of choice. inside of your kit. You're supposed to have choice in your rotation as to what are you going to press, right? So let's say you have a target and you just want to do damage in single target. Well, then the most easy conceptual thing to do would be to press lunge, righteous lunge. I'm just going to shorten every move. I'm going to assume you know what I'm talking about. If you're not a Templar player, you're here to hear me bitch. That's fine too. But you can press lunge, and then it's gonna buff your next ability by 10% stacking, and then you press chastise, and you just deal holy damage. Completely fine. But then you have different things, right? Like you can choose. The next step of this is like, okay, if there's multiple mobs, I can suddenly start using cleave, and then finish. Or you can be like, wait, I also have condemn. Maybe I can start cleaving and building my condemn, and then using like Blade of Fate, or I can use like spin or all these moves, right? But the problem is that you don't really have a choice because you're just gonna want to spend. So the first real problem with the oath system is tuning. If pressing a builder, and I'm gonna explain why there's a difference between AoE and single target. If pressing a builder takes so much energy and then does damage, but then the only buff is plus 10% damage, right? To value buffing a builder so much so that it's worth pressing it, that it's worth to build it so much before you press it, you would need to get to like 10 stacks so that the buff is like at 100% value. And then if you break, you're gonna do more damage than your builder. Okay, you can do that, definitely. But if you, for an example, if you think about like chastise, we're gonna use magical fictional numbers, right? Chastise does 1,000 damage, and then lunge does 500 damage. So it does half the damage, right? When you press lunge, you're gonna give all your abilities a 10% damage bonus. Okay, lunge now does 550, and chastise is gonna do 1,000 and 100. How many? You have the choice, right? Now you can choose to go and do lunge, chastise, lunge, chastise. If you do lunge and chastise, you do 550 damage plus 100 and like 1,001. Okay, you're gonna do 1,650 damage. If you're like, let me build like a big chastise, how many chastises do you need to break to bypass doing some lunges before you just break? Let me tell you the answer. There's an infinite amount of lunges you can do, but you'll never catch up simply because of your GCD issues. If you choose to go and say you can do 1,650 damage for 2 GCDs, well, every GCD that you do that you do your lunge, yes, you'll gain 10% and it's stacking, but you're limited by the 15-second the timer of your chain. So if we do some math, right? You're gonna what's gonna happen? I'm gonna show some math on like some text math on the screen. But the damage that you'll get up to into that 15-second cooldown is just never gonna come even close to doing 1-2 over and over and over. And one of the issues, right? And yeah, like one of the issues is it's ridiculous because the most simple and kind of brain dead gameplay is what's being rewarded, and that is true for all finishers except one, which is cleave. Why is cleave different? If you read the ability, it deals weapon damage plus whatever to your target and an additional nearby target. And then the oath effect is that it makes you do damage to one additional nearby target. Okay, what's the difference between condemn, lunge, and cleave? Well, condemn and lunge give you 10% extra damage done, and cleave technically gives you 100% because you do damage to 2 targets fully. So now you're kind of like this one is 100%. So that means if you would do like any ability and then do your finisher, the finisher is gonna do 1,000. But if you use cleave and there's a second target, you made it do 2,000. But it's also compounding upon every cleave. So your first cleave is gonna strike 2 targets, and then your finishers will strike 2 targets. But your second cleave is gonna do 3 targets. Your fourth 4, your fifth 5 target. So what happens is that your own cleave, we can say like cleave does 400 damage. It's fictional numbers. Okay, well, the first one is going to do 800 damage because you hit 2 targets. And then the second one is going to do 1,200 damage. And then another 1,600 damage, or etc., etc., etc. Right? So if you do that, and then every time you do it, your chastise is going to do 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Well, then it makes sense that you would want to use cleave up until your target cap, and then you would finish. And the only thing that's stopping you from doing that is your energy. Fine, okay. Let's talk about energy later, but you can definitely do that. And then you're actually incentivized to do as much. It's not true for all the other builders though, because if you're noticing, like, the difference is that if you do lunge, you gain 10% damage, and if you do cleave, you gain 100% damage. That's like the easiest comparison. So if you can see it, right, it's like the only time that the oath system actually makes you want to interact with your oaths is when you're doing cleave. Fucking shame on you though, because Crusader entire AoE kit is spin. It's predicated upon spin, which is already not having a target cap. So you don't even need to stack your cleaves anymore. And also you would think, oh well, I can spread my condemn dot. You don't need to, because spin is gonna cleave your condemn dot for you. And then you're like, okay, what about Zealot? Oh, okay. Well, the problem is Zealot has 0 AoE potential outside of cleave. So Zealot is just not going to be doing AoE. Congratulations. Like, it just doesn't have anything to do actually good AoE. And I'm sorry to say it as much, but it just is what it is. And if they do something, it's just going to be completely overtuning like Force of Golganet. And then somebody's going to abuse it, kill someone in PvP really fast with his 2-minute cooldown, and then it's going to get nerfed, and that's it. Which is fine. That's how it would happen, but like, Zelda doesn't have AoE, and then the one spec that does have AoE doesn't interact with the cleave. So we're kind of based upon the entire thing. So the real problem is that the oath value that you bring by pressing your oaths is not worth the scaling effect that the chain gives you. I think you guys can understand. Like, this is also compounded if you think about some other spells. So if we think about, for Zealot, right? If we think about Vindication, so the entire mechanic of doing zealotries is interesting. It's that's fine. So this oath is your damaging abilities have a 25% chance to trigger zealotry. The only reason this is actually interesting is because the value of zealotry in your rotation is not completely matted out yet, and because no one's gonna do it probably, and then I won't do it until max level because I don't care to do that for level 35. The thing is, not knowing the value of Vindication means we just kind of have to assume certain stuff, which is fine. But then you also have like another issue is, okay, this is an oath that you want to build your oath chain, but what the fuck does that do for your finisher? And I'm gonna get back right to that, but let's assume upheaval is not there, right? What the fuck does that do for your finisher? Increase chains to proc the one proc. You can, if you have a finisher, okay, you're gonna proc it, even if you stack it to 4 times with Vindication to have a 100% chance to trigger a zealotry. Congratulations, you pressed a spell 4 times just to make sure that your finisher does an offhand weapon swing for 30% of weapon damage. Like, I don't, like, are we, like, kind of, like, for real? Like, is this strong enough of a payoff for all of this? And then the secondary mechanic is Upheaval, which is your second spell, which has a scaling, for now it's 3%, but I know it's 6% later. For every one of the zealotries you trigger, you buff your Righteous Upheaval, to deal like 6% more damage. Well then, let me tell you, how many zealotries would you really need to do to make sure that this is worth stacking so much? Well, the math is the only thing that's going to really tell you, but the problem is, I would assume that it would need to do, you would need to trigger a zealotry, 2 zealotries per GCD to outpace just doing lunge. Can you do that? Yes, probably, because if you're stacking it enough so that you have a zealotry every global plus your auto attack swing, you're kind of like being equal, but it's fine, right? Because you're also incentivized to have melee haste and whatever and whatnot. So you're just breaking equal, and you're slightly passing just to stack your Righteous Upheaval. But this is a 15-second, like a 20 to 15-second cooldown. Now you can do that, but then you press it, and then you have like 2 or 3 combos in between every Righteous Upheaval, in which you're not incentivized to use Vindication at all. Like, you're not really incentivized, right? So what are we doing, right? Like, are we gonna pre-stack Vindications every time, or are we gonna just do whatever kind of combo we're gonna do? I think again, this is like a definite math thing that we can't really math out because we're missing too much talents from Zealot to really test that change. But like in a way, Vindication is the only oath that really brings any conceptual thought into the situation. And then if you look at Crusader, you have Argent Blade. Now Argent Blade isn't actually like an oath builder, but it might become, if we play Scarlet Secrets, that's gonna make it so you have critical strike damage increase as a oath. The thing is, it requires 2 globals to prog that, so like I think you're still not gonna really want to press Argent Blade, just because you're gonna be sucked of energy more. So it's like difficult to test, really, because we don't even have that talent yet. But I don't really think that it's gonna it's gonna shelf the cost. I think you're just gonna press it if you want Leech, which is what the spell does now for some godforsaken fucking reason. And then if you go for the tank, well, the tank is sitting outside of the oath system because they've decided, for some reason, they've decided that they wanted the tank to be able to spam breakers without consuming the breaker, which is making it so every spec does 1-2-1-2, except Oathkeeper, which does 1-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2, because they also decided to make Reckoning generate energy. So you can't even go out of energy. So you have 0 throttle. For some god reason, I don't know who fucking went in, press every fucking code to make this happen, and then they went outside and then did something, and they didn't see that this was going to be problematic. They just went outside, killed 2 wolves, figured like, wow, this feels good, and then they just left it as is. But they don't, I don't think we're missing the point that this is like completely the opposite of the entire system. We're basically only putting a 1 global tax per 15 seconds to press any fucking ability you want in your entire kit over and over and over and over and over and over. Imagine if Warrior had to press Overpower 1 time per 15 seconds, and then it could just do whatever the fuck it wanted, no cost to anything. Like, this would not make sense. Like, you can't do that. You can't make, like, pressing Overpower once allows you to use Mortal Strike every single global for the next 12 globals. Like, this isn't like real. And also, you guys changed the entire combo system to the oath system just for the tank to scrap it, because the tank basically just says scrap. Why do you even, like, at this point, why do I even have to press an oath before I press my breakers on tank? If this is what it is, you're literally just putting 1 global tax for every like 12-15 seconds. Just remove the requirement. Like, just remove the requirement. What the fuck is it going to change? Because if you just remove the requirement, the only oath that I'm going to use is Cleave. Anyway, like, I'm just going to use Cleave. Once every, like, whenever there's some targets, I'm going to use some Cleave, and then that's it. Like, we're kind of, like, so far departed from the entire system that we're outside of it. And it's the only reason that Oathkeeper is the only spec that feels good, is because it's the one that doesn't interact with the core rotation. So that's the problem with the old system. Now, the fucking kit. So the problem is that the kit, right, is trying to be a paladin kit. we even have forbearance. The problem with having a paladin kit is that the paladin kit is incomplete, underpowered, and also, frankly, doesn't fit current Koa at all. One, you have Tranquil Circle and Divine Force as CCs. Those are just straight up worse than like almost everyone else. Force is a 2 minute stun. Like it's 2 minutes. I get that you can lower it a little bit and that the stun is a little bit long, but it's just like a single target, super long cooldown stun. And don't come at me with that 10-yard fucking leap bullshit. This shit forces you in the air, and you're literally missing swings anyway. Like, you're missing a melee swing to cast that spell if you fucking press it mid-combat. So, this isn't a fucking leap. Like, I'm gonna stop everybody fucking right there. This is not a fucking leap. The fact that it's a longer-ish stun on a 2-minute cooldown, you still just get fucking trinketed every fucking time that you press it. Nobody ever stands in that shit. For some fucking reason. It doesn't do enough damage. It's not like it does actual damage. And it's interrupting non-player spellcasting. Oh yeah, dude, I love having a 2-minute long kick. Like, this is a ridiculous CC. You can't even do anything with it. Like, that's the thing, is like, you cannot even do anything with it because you'll never get a second one in a fight. So it doesn't matter. Like, you can't just, like, use it to burn the CC and such and whatever. It doesn't fucking work. It's nonsensical. It should be like a 1-minute cooldown. I think it should be like a 45-second cooldown and you lower the duration to 4 seconds. At least I can do something with that. This is nonsensical. And then you have Tranquil Circle. Like, I get that it's like a drop-down range ability, and it slows some enemies. But it's a soft CC. It's fucking sleep. So if I try to be a goofy and press it onto like people moving, right? First of all, everybody has 20 dashes except us, so nobody fucking stands in it. If you do stand in it because of the slow, because you're just caught, right? You're asleep. I can't do anything to you. You're just asleep. It's like an incap. It's like it's a blind with a warning sign. And you know the crazy part is that sleep effects and fear effects and such like that. Just casting it is sometimes hard to outplay. But if you drop the circle and it makes you slow, if your class has like it's a fear totem effect or a fear immunity or anything to counterplay fear or sleep, because they're generally lumped together, right? You can just press it. You just know it instantly. It's not like I'm casting spells or I'm pressing like an instant fear or something. You can just pre-place your totem every time. It's so easy to do. It kind of like if you're fighting somebody that has any counterplay in their kit, they'll just press it. Like, it's so easy to do. And also, it's not just that. It's not just a fear totem. It can just be movement. Like, yeah, you can drop your fear totem, or you can just dash. You can just dash in any direction. The circle's not that big. And even if I do catch someone slipping, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't hit them, because they're asleep and they'll wake up. So I can't hit them. If I can't hit them, I can't fucking heal. So this is just me biding time. The only fucking benefit I get from this is I can literally look at them sleeping to regenerate some energy. So I'm just gonna sit there twiddling my thumbs for like 4 or 5 seconds, as if that's smart. You can tell, oh, well, you can get back in melee. Okay, sure, I'm gonna walk for 2 seconds and assume nobody comes or nothing happens or I'm not getting dotted up. Like, what if I'm dotted up? If I'm dotted up, because half the classes in the game have a fucking dot, I'm literally going to take more damage than what I'm going to get from sleeping the guy. Because if I don't hit him, I can't heal. Now let's go to the next thing. That's the 2 CCs, which are fucking lackluster. And then you have the defensive kit. Okay, what's the defensive kit? Oh, okay. Well, first of all, you have your Librams, right? They're cool. They're fine. But the problem is, they're mutually exclusive. So you have multiple DPS Librams that you want to use, but then if you take damage, you're expected to use one of your 2 healing Librams. Like, one is a DR, one is a healing. They're mutually exclusive, which means that whenever you decide to change your mind and go from damage to like go from damage to tankiness, what are you doing? You're just losing all your damage. So you're fucking yourself over. So you don't want to fucking roll your like defensive Libram at all. If you wait, well then it's just unreliable. It's just like an unreliable bad defensive. If you just press it, if you just wait to use it after your burst is over, it's just like an unreliable bad defensive, and it can fuck over your offensive kit. I think conceptually the idea is good, especially if you're playing like Zealot and an Oathkeeper can reduce their cooldown of their Librams, so it makes it less punishing. But that doesn't affect Crusader, and it certainly doesn't affect anyone that's not at max level playing a long form of content. So even PvP at max level, there's a good chance you're not cycling your Librams. Like you're just not, they're not back up by the time you need them. Just because the fight's over. You're already dead. You're already in the ground. Well, you're probably at the graveyard already resing and coming back while people have been fighting, and you can look at them, right? So that's the thing. And then you get to your other abilities. So the other abilities is you got fucking your Testament of Fate, which is like a big heal. On a 3-minute cooldown, I can heal for 60% of my HP one time. And it applies the fucking forbearance effect. This is PvE value. You go in PvP and you have a 3-minute cooldown that tells you heal for 30% of your HP. Good luck not having a Mortal Strike effect on you. What? Dude, this is not lay on hands. Like this isn't nearly as strong as like a lay on hands effect or something like that. Like this isn't even close. Your other thing would be Testament of Fortitude, which is just meditate. Okay, well, first of all, it doesn't really heal for shit, right? Because you're getting hit. Even if you reduce the damage taken, the best you're going to do is stalemate and take like your HP is not going to move until you get CC'd. So you can get CC'd out of this. And by CC'd, I don't mean you need to be stunned. You just need to be like hooked, knocked back. Any micro 0.1 second effect on you breaks your entire defensive. So this is also on a 3-minute cooldown. And it has the Sacred Restraint. So you also have forbearance on this. And then you have your clones, your stupid clones, also on a fucking 3-minute cooldown, and it also applies the 1-minute thing for 20% DR at best. What are we doing? Like, it's 20% DR. Why do I have a fucking 1-minute forbearance effect? First of all, forbearance is not 1 minute. Like, I'm just going to stop you right there. None of these spells, first of all, are nearly as strong as any of the spells that paladins do that gives you a 30-second forbearance. Like, none of them have the power of these spells, and it has a longer lockout. Also, these all cost fucking like 50 energy or something stupid shit. It just burns your entire bar to do it. Like, it's awful. Like, those abilities are terrible. Like, it's illegal. Even if they didn't have the forbearance effect, they wouldn't even be a good defensive kit. Like, because it's a small heal, 20% DR, and a fucking meditate that stops you from doing anything. So when you're in meditate, congratulations, you can't actually heal, you can't do damage. What the fuck is the point of having a 50% thing as a DPS? Like, what are you going to do with it? Oh, I'm going to tell you. It's only useful if you have a raid mechanic that does a big slam that you can see in advance, and you can just press it really quickly to kind of like dodge frame the raid damage. That's the only time this ability is actually good. So this is bad. And then the last thing is like, okay, what about mobility and sustain? Well, good news, you have 0 sustain, because your benediction is on a 10-second cooldown, and it doesn't heal very much. It looks like it heals a lot, but it doesn't actually heal very much. It doesn't heal more than like Primalist Hand of the Earth Mother, which is a fucking spammable that you can use like 3, 4, 5 globals in a row if you're in a fight. That heals you for as much as benediction, but benediction has a cooldown, and it also costs you your combo chain. So not only that, but you have the energy tax of having to, then the global tax of having to repress another damage ability to do the next ability after you use your benediction. So you don't really have any sustain, and that's your only heal. You have the other heal on a 3-minute cooldown, but this is your only heal. Like, you don't heal. Like, you're supposed to be like a paladin type of thing, right? They want you to be like a paladin type of thing, but you don't have sustain. So you can't self-heal yourself. You don't have access to like an actual word of glory. I don't understand why Primalist has a better word of glory than Templar has. So that's one. The cooldown is prohibitive to the point where I'm like, I can't even ever use this on like anybody else, because if I'm gonna need it, it's gonna be on cooldown. Oh, I can do like the sacrifice thing of just doing it, which is what, like, I'll do it, but then I take damage and I have nothing to fucking show for it. I can't do anything with me taking that damage. So that heal is just like not good. And then for the tank, congratulations, the tank unlocks a node that makes it so you can press it with no cooldown, but the tank also removes the breaker requirement, so you can just spam it every single second and you heal for way too much. There's no in between, right? And then the other thing is your fucking mobility, right? Your mobility, we went from having like a sprint effect with freedom, a leap, a charge, a knock, everything to keep us fucking on our targets. And then even with all those, right? We couldn't reach targets so much before, to the points where I convinced the devs to give us the effect of Justice of Paladin, where it limits the enemy's movement speed so that we could finally catch up. And you know what's crazy? When all of that was had, we still were just like normal. Like, we weren't like on our target 100% of the time. We were still on our targets like just as much as the other melees. It took all of that to reach our targets. And in PvE, like, that didn't do anything for us, but at least like between the charge and the leap in PvE, you could do something decent with movement speed, right? But for some reason, we lost the leap, we lost the sprint, we lost the freedom. I get that it's lower down the tree, but it's a fucking freedom that also applies forbearance, so it's unplayable. And then your charge has been changed into an ally-only charge. It's literally you literally have intervene instead of charge or intercept. What are we doing? Like, why can I not charge enemy targets? I literally have to wait for another melee to dive so I can dash to my friendly melee to get into the fight. What is this? Like, which fucking world? Imagine if rogues could only shadow step their friendly target, and they had to ask somebody else to go and open the enemy so they could shadow step to them before opening the enemy. What is this? Right? Who the fuck thought this was a great idea? I can't reach my target. I have no movement speed to go towards my target. Whether it's in PvP or in PvE. In PvE, I'm trying to do pulls, and I can't hit anything at range. I don't have like an actual range thing. I can't do anything but taunt. I don't have movement speed to go from pack to pack. I'm literally the slowest member of my group. And it's like, I'm going. Some casters are fucking like goading me. Dude, when I'm doing dungeons with my main healer, I literally tell him to go in front of me and be like in the middle between our pack and the next pack, so I can dash to him, going from pack to pack. I literally have to make my healer move in front of us, so I can dash to him to catch up. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, why? First of all, why can't my fucking charge just charge an enemy? Like, why not? Right? Second, I don't have a slow. I don't even have a spammable slow. So I do get to my enemy, and then I can get slowed. I can't do anything about it, and I can't slow him back. So even if I would do like any ability to, like, warrior reaches his target after a charge, and he presses hamstring to keep him fucking checked. It doesn't even mean he's gonna touch very long. It just means he has something he can do. I don't even have that. You're gonna say, oh well, Paladin, doesn't have that. Well, you're right, but Paladin, half of his abilities are on like some 10-yard melee bullshit, right? Whether it's Divine Storm having extended melee range or Judgment. The second thing is Paladin has an actual freedom that's on a 20-second cooldown or some bullshit. It doesn't apply forbearance. And also he has the Justice effect that makes you not sprint when you're running away from him. So he's equalizing the playing field. I'm doing none of that. So I don't have a slow. I don't have a fucking charge. I don't have a leap. I don't have any way to get anywhere. I can't heal myself. I especially cannot heal myself if I'm not hitting the target. So if I'm not connecting at all, I can't even press my self healing, which is already not good enough if I'm on my target. So I can't do anything. There's some PvP in the footage that I put in this video where I'm literally going in a straight line, pressing absolutely everything, and I can't connect to a dude that's not actually even running away. And I'm doing absolutely everything I can even do. There is literally zero reason that you as a Templar is ever going to go towards a ranged enemy. Because you're not going to be able to go. Like, you're not reaching him. All of that to also say we don't even have a kick. So after all that, even if I did go on top of my target, he can just free cast a full CC on me, and I have no way of stopping anything. And before you tell me to stun it, like, bro, it's a 2-minute stun. If I'm going to use it as a fucking kick, I don't know what world we're living in. But if you look at so many other fucking specs that just have infinite fucking things to do, like, what world are we actually living in? Like, Templar is just, the kit of Templar would literally not even be good in TBC. Like, everybody's playing with, like, multiple movement, multiple CC, multiple self-sustain. I'm supposed to be like a monk paladin hybrid, and I have the mobility. I'm literally the worst of both worlds. I have the mobility of a paladin, the control of a paladin, the self-sustain of a monk. Oh, but actually not even, because a monk can go behind a corner and press Vivify. So what the fuck are we talking about, right? I have literally the worst part of every aspect of every kit. I have monk level of DR and defensives, but I have paladin forbearance. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we even saying right now? Like, what am I doing? So the kit is fucking horrible. It's completely unplayable. Like, it's please just log on that thing solo, go in a battleground, and try to dive a range. Try to survive anything on you. Do a 1v1, right? Versus any of the, like, bruiser specs, and tell me what your HP bars look like when you're dying. Just tell me. So that's the problem with the kit. Now, is it a problem? Like, we got to identify if it's a problem. Well, my best gauge would be, how does the kit that we do have and the gameplay that we do have reflect the fantasy? So if the fantasy is to be like a swift and like a kind of like swift and strong holy warrior that has access to like a bruiser style gameplay built upon self-healing and support, well, how is this reflected? Well, we're not very tanky. Like, our HP totals are not actually higher. We're wearing mail, but we don't have any modifiers, so it's not at all a plate class, and it's just slightly better than leather. We don't have self-sustain at all, because our abilities have too many requirements and limitations, and the value is not even good to show for it. We don't really have movement, because I can only charge my allies, and then I have no control. So I have nothing. Like, I'm just left with nothing. I have no control, I have no movement, my self-healing is like completely horrible. It's so bad. Like, my self-healing is so bad. It's not even funny. Like, Ranger looks fucking that, like, it leeches more. Like, somehow, like, I feel like I can get out healed by Rangers or something stupid. Like, I have like, dude, I think Rudemaster having Hurricane every 30 seconds that dodges melees is probably tankier, because it doesn't get hit for more times than us. Like, it's this is ridiculous. And then you look at the damage profile. I don't even know. Like, the damage is like, what are we, like, am I just gonna press 1-2? What kind of like powerful combo building, like, fantasy are we having where I'm just pressing lunge and chastise over and over? What kind of like pressing like the same builder for 5 levels in a row and then using any finisher? Is that like what building a powerful combo feels like? If I tell someone, hey, this spec is about like, this spec is all about like doing combos. You have like all these builders, and you can build up to like this big finisher and stuff. And then I give them this. Do you really think they're gonna say that this is actual good combos? Like, this is a combo system? It's really not. Like, what this is holy power. If you every single spell that you pressed gave you 3 holy powers or something. Like, I don't even know what this is. Like, even if you compare this to like combo points from a rogue, well, imagine if instead of like eviscerate scaling linearly for every combo point so that the value is at the max amount, it's like if you pressed if like you only gain 10% damage per combo point. Who would do that? Like, you would just press Initial Strike Eviscerate, Initial Strike Eviscerate, Initial Strike Eviscerate. This is the exact same fucking stupid thing we're dealing with right now. Like, this is the same shit. Like, I don't really know what we're talking about. So, like, even the combo side of the fantasy is not realized at all because you don't actually build any combo. Okay, so this is my big rant. This is everything wrong. So I'm gonna, if you're still watching because you like hearing me be mad, and also if any dev is watching, now was like me kind of being mad. This is like, I'm just saying, this is like months of frustration that I'm letting out. Here's what I would suggest to fix it. And it's not even like we're far gone. We just need a little reining in of this. It's not even like we can definitely fix this. Like, this is not like so unsolvable. One, we're gonna talk about how to fix the kit, and I'm gonna go about how to fix the oaths later. Okay, the kit. So I understand from what I've talked about with the devs in like a short past is that the intent is for our survival to be kind of like a red paladin, where it's about healing ourselves back up and not necessarily having really good DR. Okay, well, the idea I would say is, please, can we like buff our self-healing? Like, Benediction with its current values has zero reason to be locked behind a cooldown. Like, I'm just gonna say it, like, compared to every other melee with self-healing, we're not even close to reaching their value or usefulness, and it really doesn't feel good. Like, Benediction is super weak, and it's terrible. So, what I would do is, first of all, you need to remove the fucking cooldown on this thing. Like, I know it's like an oath keeper. Delete the choice node. It's a choice node, delete that one, leave the other one there. Make Benediction not have a cooldown. I understand that your first take is going to be, they're going to heal too much. I want to say, well, I'm going to need to press globals after globals to feed my oath chain and heal, and then I'm going to sacrifice so much damage for doing such. Which is what a paladin that uses Word of Glory every time instead of doing damage would do. It's going to heal a fuck ton, and it's going to do low damage. So, first of all, just remove the cooldown on Benediction, please, to Lord Jesus. One. Second of all, your 3-minute Testament of Fate that heals you. If your forbearance system is going to stay, which I please to fucking God hope you're going to listen and just remove that shit. Please remove that shit. Right? Whatever you do, that forbearance fucking mechanic should be like a 20-second long thing at most. It has no business being a full minute. It's ridiculous because even if I'm tanking a raid boss, I can't use a global for every mechanic at every 30 seconds. This is ridiculous. Like, I am literally unable to press my defensives. First, delete the forbearance mechanic. Good idea. Does not work. Sorry. If you really are intent on keeping it, make it something like 20 second. And then we're going to be able to talk a little bit more. Okay. The Testament that heals you doesn't heal you nearly as much as it should to cost 50 energy, apply a forbearance effect, and being such a long cooldown. Like, its current healing value should be a 30-second cooldown. Its current healing value shouldn't put forbearance on you. Its current healing value should give you energy instead of costs you half your energy bar. Like we're talking nonsense. So here's the thing: if you're gonna keep the 3-minute cooldown, this needs to be lay on hands. Like this should heal for 500. I have 1400 HP on my tank, like 1200 on my DPS. This should heal for 1000, not 500. Like and yeah, it's gonna feel bad, but just remember, as soon as you get in PvP, your healing value is lowered, right? And you're gonna get Mortal Strike over and over. So you're not really in any danger of this becoming a problem in PvP. If you don't buff that, if you don't do all that, it's a terrible spell. Like it's not good enough, and it's this is not it. Like this is not it at all. The clones and the meditate, okay, I think those are fine. It's just the forbearance effect on it makes it seem ridiculous. So that's the problem. Now I would like to have like another maybe way to heal, but I do start to understand that there's kind of like starting to be a limit. If we do implement like the benediction change and the testament healing change, this is going to be a different discussion. But if we don't change those spells, we're going to need some way to gain some HP, because if I'm supposed to be like spamming Word of Glory on myself, big type of vibe, like I need to be able to spam Word of Glory. Like Word of Glory cannot have a 30-second cooldown. Like like we can't do that. Like this is not it. This like, and Word of Glory certainly cannot kick you out of using bubbles for a full minute. So we're gonna chill, right? We're gonna absolutely chill. Second thing, crowd control. I do get that we don't want to give Templar like an infinite amount of crowd control. No problem. I can live with this. Here's the thing. We don't need so much crowd control, but we do need one thing, and it's a fucking interrupt. A 2-minute silence is not an interrupt. Please, just let me be somehow disruptive. I already need to be on my target, and all of that. I don't have enough CC to justify not having an interrupt. Please remove the silence. Like low-key, not even the silence on a 2-minute cooldown is ridiculous. Like, but like, please remove the silence. Give us back our interject. Like, please, just give us back their kick, dude. Like, it's nobody wants a silence. It's not fun. We don't. I don't feel like we're bringing in so much so that we deserve to not have the kick. Like it's like it's not even about like, even if we live in a world where you don't want to give too many kicks to people, we need to have the like Templar is a class that needs its kick. Like it's ridiculous that as a tank I can't even kick something, and then the DPS specs don't do enough shit to justify not having the kick. So I'm gonna stop you right there. Please remove the silence, give us back our fucking kick, and I'll already gain a lot of ways to actually play somehow against casters. And you can make it like an 18-second kick. Like you can make it like not a 12-second kick. It doesn't have to be a fucking melee kick. Just make it like you can make it a 24-second kick. That's fine. Make it a 24-second kick. Yeah, actually do it. Just make it a long kick. It's fine. Like just make it a longer kick. Just give me something. And now the actual fucking nail of the coffin is the mobility. Please to God, dude, like this used to be Monk. Like, first of all, I know it's not anymore, and I know this isn't like a real argument, but what I can tell you is that all the old Templar players all miss like when we add some more mobility. I don't understand why I play my Primalist, and this is no shit on Primalist. I'm just using it as like a direct example. Like, I can't understand why as a Primalist I have like a 25-second, like 20-something yard frontal charge. I have like a big rock sprint, and then I also have like my pet abilities that makes me dash to my target, and you do all that while having a slow and all this stuff, right? And it doesn't even feel so crazy. Like it's not even like it's like Witch Hunter is the same way. Cox feels like super good between like its sprint and his horse and his grip, and like every other like most of the other melees feel pretty good. And every melee that's stealth like starts his fight on his target. You have all these, and then I don't know why Templar has been randomly selected to just not have like connection. So, like, please to Jesus, dude, just make Temple Guardian be able to hit the enemy again. Like, just let me please charge to my targets, like whatever target it is. It doesn't like please. It's really not that deep. It doesn't fucking. It's crazy, right? Like it's I don't understand why we went this way. This is ridiculous. Second of all, please, can we have back an actual freedom? Like, zeal is not it. You cannot have our freedom interact with the forbearance system. Freedom cannot be exclusive to my actual defensives. Like, it's not that. Like, please, like, you need to understand this. Like, this is not the same at all. Like, at all. I understand what you're trying to do by making it like a testament and stuff. Not it. Not it at all. So, first of all, give me an actual freedom, right? Actual freedom. That's good. On a shorter cooldown than 1 minute. Remove the AoE shit. Just make it for myself at this point, right? Please, just do that, actually. Make it easier to balance. Please do that. Give me an actual freedom for myself. Make it not do forbearance. And then we can maybe not be slowed for hell. And then you have two choices, right? Either you re-implement the effect of justice that reduces the enemy's speed, so that we can kind of stalemate them, even if they're still gonna like outrun us. Like every range with like Tinker and shit that can kite with abilities is gonna dash away, and then because our charge is on such a long cooldown, even if we have permanent freedom and they have the slow effect on them, we're not guaranteed at all to keep like touching them. They'll just kite away with abilities. So please bring back the justice effect or give us a slow. So if I was to be given the choice, I would I would just give us like a range slow. Like I mean, yeah, I would just give us like a normal ass range slow, just like the 20-yard range, 15%, 50% slow for like 6 or 8 seconds. But if you wanted it to be more interesting, what I would do is I would make Temple Guardian give you an oath, assuming you can charge on enemies. Because if you can't charge on enemies, you might as well delete this ability. So what I would do is, using Temple Guardian on an enemy grants you an oath, and then the oath would be a slow. So your effects now apply like a 35% slow. And you can stack it. Like you can see that we have 3 charges. And then the thing would be if you do all 3 of your charges, you can apply a root. Like nobody's going to do that because 35-second charge, but like you could, and that would be fine. Why would it not be? Like just make it 33%, so that it at 3 stacks is like 99% slow. So like that would be a way to give us a slow. Like this would be like a way to let us connect a little bit, so you could charge to an enemy and then slow them a little bit, and then you can kind of keep on them, assuming you did have freedom and everything. So that's for the mobility, right? So I also in the CC category, like the sleep, I get what you're doing with that. I'm fine with circle, but if you don't give us a fucking kickback, bro, please lower the stun CD. Like make it a 1 minute CD, stun. Like it's gonna be like fine. Like don't worry, it's gonna be fine. I can tell you right now, you do that and you don't really have to go back. It's gonna be completely fine. Okay. That's how I would fix the kit. Now, how to fix the oath system. Okay. So, the problem with the oath system is like 80% of it is one of tuning. It's because the breakers have too high of a base value to warrant you not pressing them as much as you can. And the oath effects, which are calculated at 10% per oath, are too weak. There's no incentive to building an actual oath chain. I do understand that every oath in your oath chain buffs your other oaths and it compounds. However, you gotta remember, whatever you do, we are throttled by energy enough that you can't spam. Like you can't build for 12 seconds straight to get some monstrous chain. You just don't have the energy. And you need to use your breakers to regenerate energy. So you're kind of like the entire thing is already kind of fixed, right? The thing is, if like the easiest solution would be to buff the oath chain effects. So go from like 10% to something like 25%, right? However, nerf the breakers. nerf the base value so that you, if you nerfed it by like 40%, right, you would kind of end up in a place where you would only get damage positive at like the third breaker. So you would be incentivized to do at least like 3 ability long chains before you break. But this would also mean is you'll be incentivized to like pre-plan or work around your stuff in a better way. Like you won't just do 1-2 1-2. You're gonna start like playing around your energy and stuff like that. Now, I do get that like this is kind of like going full circle to the combo system. But the problem with that is that a bad thing? Like ask yourself, is going a little bit more on the combo system spectrum of the system actually bad? Because like this is like this is difficult. Like this is difficult to play with because you're just ending up doing 1-2 1-2 or such, and it's very simplistic, and you're really in a world where you can just like macro your entire rotation with 0 thought needed and do like 99% of damage, which is not something that I think anyone wants. Like I don't think anyone is like, yes, I'm gonna play this character that's built around building powerful combos, and I'm gonna just use a 1 button macro, or I'm gonna have 0 thought required. Um, so I do believe like we need to like change, like nerf the breakers, buff the out system, and make it more interesting. Like I get that we need something simple like lunge, and then you need like cleave. Those are 2 good combos. Well, cleave should compound. Like cleave should be compounding instead of being 1 2 3. It should do like 1 2 4 8 targets. I think it's very personal, but at 1 per stack, it's not good enough, especially for Zealot, whose entire AoE kit is cleave. Like at least for Zealot, add a node to make it like 2 targets per something, because it like Zealot just can't hit more than like 3 targets at a time, so it's stupid. Um, but even Condemn, like, dude, 10% crit or 10% flat damage between Lunge and Condemn. It's the same thing. Dude, be real. It's the same thing. It's the same shit. It's not super interesting at all. So, um, like I think like the existence of the Condemn dot is fine, and just I think the old systems is just too weak. It's not fun. Like it's stupid. Another thing I would do is, if I had to be given a choice, I would add requirements of the amount of oaths you have for certain spells. So, Blade of Fate, which, rest in peace, Thousand Blades, you were much, much, much cooler every single fashion. I would make like Blade of Fate require 3 combos. So you're just forced to build your chain for certain one. Like keep Chastise and Benediction at 1, but then make Spin, Reckoning, and Upheaval like a 3. Make it force it to be 2 or 3. Blade of Fate, make it 3. Like you could do that, and then you could buff the values. That would be one way. Um, but I don't really know how you make this different at this point, because you're kind of caught yourself like in a corner. I think the first thing I would do is do the tuning thing instead of like nerfing the breakers and like buffing the oath, so you would actually want to build any fashion of combo. You know? So those 2 things is like the problem with the oath system is that you've put yourself in like a wall where if we have more energy and you buff the oaths, well, we'll be able to build like a monstrous chain of like crazy damage, and then we won't even want to break. We'll just want to build until the last global and then break. But if we make it this way, where energy throttles us so hard, we're going to do 1-2 1-2, because that's how we regenerate energy. So, like, it's stuck in a corner. Like we're like catch 22. We went from a system that was locked at 3, that like the system protected itself. Like essentially, the old combo system protected itself from every issue. Like it protected itself from being an energy starved class, and it's also protected itself from like being degenerative and going into like either long or short chains. Unironically, the limitation created more interesting gameplay. Who would have thought, right? So we definitely went backwards, like significantly backwards, for the sake of a non-needed simplicity. That's like 100%. I'm gonna keep that take forever until I've been proven severely wrong. Like we've definitely gone backwards, and we had infinite chances to like not make it not do that, but it is what it is. Now, all that's well and good, but like I'm starting to think like the energy thing is also difficult because the notes that we get later. So Crusader gets Scarlet Hammer, and Scarlet Hammer is received upon getting a breaker. So Crusader is going to be forever incentivized to do 1-2-1-2. It's like it's going to keep that gameplay. And then you have Zealot, and then Zealot gets Heaven's Finest, and Heaven's Finest is every 6 abilities. However, Zealot also gets Blessed Strikes, which means every time they break, they gain 15 energy. So Zealot is also either agnostic to the amount of abilities that you press to gain your energy, or it's also gonna want to break to abuse Blessed Strikes. Well, abuse, like not abuse, but just like salvage its energy with Blessed Strikes. So both specs are like gunning towards the 1-2 spam, but like the energy throttle is just like a fake mechanic. Like at this point, like we're not even feeling like energy. We're just throttled by bad resource. Like it could be anything. Um, okay, and then the last thing. This is gonna be Oathkeeper specific. The fact that you can spam breakers is breaking the entire class, and it's gonna make absolutely every single change you ever try to make to the Oath system a massive clusterfuck. Doing this, I understand the intent. You wanted to bring like you wanted tanks to be able to press the buttons that they wanted to press. This is a good sentiment. The problem is that you fundamentally removed the mechanic upon which the class is predicated and balanced around. So you're kind of like putting yourself in a corner, because if you buff breakers, you're artificially buffing Oathkeeper by a significant margin. So you put yourself in the corner on that one. The second part of the problem with spamming breakers for Oathkeeper is the interaction with Lore Scribe. So Lore Scribe, which is the ability that CDRs your Librams every time you use a breaker, and then your Librams are what are used as defensives and to clear your stagger, right? The problem that you've put yourself into is that now we're going to CDR like 5 times as much as we did before. Because if you remember, you used to have a 5 global cooldown long breaker chain, and now you can spam it. So that means the value of Lore Scribe, instead of CDRing something like 12 to 20 seconds per minute, like it kind of depended what you did, but like 20 seconds a minute or something, you're going to CDR 40 seconds a minute, 50 seconds a minute. Like this isn't okay. Like this is gonna like we're just gonna clear and change Libram every like 15 seconds. Like this isn't fine. Like we're like this is gonna be a problem later on because stagger is gonna be too good. And also having 100% uptime on the Libram of your choice, like this isn't fine. Like this is not good. Like you're just gonna use any of them because you can use all of them at the same time. Like this is not good. Like this is a massive problem that you've put yourself into, and you're not having you just left every way out of it out of reach for Oathkeeper. I mean, another thing is you've also did the same thing because Reckoning is a spammable that regens energy. So Oathkeeper isn't even throttled by its own energy mechanic. So it's not throttled by the breakers, and it's not throttled by energy. So you're just going all gas at all times with 100% of the benefit and 0% of like the risk or thinking or like counterpoint or anything. Like that entire idea is really really not good. Like it's not good. You're just putting yourself for degenerate gameplay forever. As long as this is there, Oathkeeper is going to rely upon degenerate gameplay to function. So definitely like reconsider this. Like, and you know what's crazy is it like even if I was forced to use an Oath between every ability, I feel like Oathkeeper would still be omega powerful. Um, definitely reconsider this, and please if you're not gonna, please reconsider Reckoning having no cooldown. I'm sorry, dude. Like people are just gonna have to learn to press chastise, but like Reckoning, like if it's gonna be an energy regen tool like this, it needs like a some form of throttling. So like for sure. And then the very last thing I'm gonna touch about is Sacred Swing and Argent Blade, which are two abilities that don't interact with the Oath system. So they don't spend and they don't build and they don't do anything. And yes, they did extend. Well, Argent Blade still extends your Oath chain, and our Sacred Swing, they've removed the extension from it for some reason, even though it was pretty cool. It was one of the actual interesting part of them using it. But like, it's definitely like those two spells. They need like you guys need to really reconsider them not interacting with the Oath system because you've created a rotation. This is like if Rogue had like a random ability that was like rotational but didn't give or spend combo points. Like it would just kind of be weird. It would just kind of go into one of those weird things that don't seem to fit. It's a very like lashing feeling when you press one of those and it doesn't do anything in your rotation that it should do. Like it's a very lashing feeling. I know I've been super negative and such, but like, and I sound maybe angry. I want to just say like I'm kind of like letting myself be kind of passionate about this. I love this class. I used to love this class. I know it can be good. I'm just not seeing like any redeeming factor out of all of this, and we can definitely fix this. Like we can definitely like do something. And I don't mean that I said everything about like I don't want to shit on like the devs. I think their conceptual idea for the rework was not bad, but it's just too undercooked. Like it's too full of oversights, and it's like I understand you guys had like problems because you redid a lot of specs, but like this one needed to be thought about more. Like definitely, like this is not good. Like this is not finished. This is not ready for release at all. Like this class is not good. Like this cannot go out like this, like for sure. Like you guys don't like maybe I'm like projecting, but I also see like the longer we go on, the more passes we get, and the closer like when we get to 60, like the degeneracy of type of gameplay that this class is gonna get to, it's gonna be the most degenerate weird class because of the way it functions. And I just don't want that. I don't want that to be like this class, and I feel bad when this is like a tank like this is supposed to be like this has like zero supporting effects, zero control. Like it doesn't have like a kit, and it doesn't have mobility, and it feels super bad, and you're out of energy constantly, and you can't do anything, and you can't interact with the own system, and the system is not worth interacting with, and you can't have every single one of those problems. Like you can't you need to choose a battle. Like you can't have every single thing. Like you need something like to work a little bit better, because like this is not fine. Like so this I know this was a long rant. Everybody that watched from the start to the end, first of all, thank you very very much for watching the entire thing. Second, please like just tell me what you think, whether you agree, disagree with anything that I've said at any point. Just say it in the comments or something. Again, I read every single comment, and I try to answer to most of them. If any dev is watching this, thank you for watching the entire thing. I hope you take this in a very like passionate way. I think you guys do a fantastic job. I just think you guys missed the mark on this one. Like this one is every other spec I've played has been like a hit, and this one has just been a miss. It's just like it happens. But like I just want this to be good. You know what? You guys know what I mean. Like this is what I've played for years. Like I just want this to be good, and not just good like it does good damage. I just want the gameplay to be back to being good. So I would urge you to please consider doing some of these stuff. Please at least listen. If you're not going to do the change that I propose, at least listen to the play. I'm not the only person that say this. Like if you look at the Discord, everybody has the same discourse. Maybe the solutions that we offer are all a little bit different. I just said mines, but like the problems that we feel about the kit and the damage rotation is something that's shared with everyone. And like I do know that there's been some positivity for Templar, but I just urge you to consider that maybe if it wasn't for Oathkeeper doing so much damage, being very easy to play, and being unkillable, people would not really enjoy this. Like I don't think people would actually enjoy it half as much as they say they do if it wasn't overtuned. So this was my long rant. Thank you for watching the whole thing. You guys have a good day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.